Hello dear viewer, my name is Needy.part and this is The Sentinel. The Sentinel is a show that interrogates social and economic issues. And tonight in studio I have a guest, and this guest is so special because he's a person who has a heart of compassion. And we'll find out exactly what I mean by a person who has a heart of compassion. So I'll give him a chance to introduce himself before we begin tonight's conversation. So welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Maybe you begin by telling us what's your name?
My name is Joshua Mbithi. I am a resident of Eldoret Town. I work for NEEMA Children's Home. And before I get into the details of NEEMA Children's Home, I want to say that I'm a pastor with Africa Inland Church. I'm a member of Africa Inland Church Fellowship in Eldoret Town. That's where I fellowship.
All right.
Yeah.
Tonight's conversation will actually will focus more on NEEMA, and you told us you're the director of NEEMA Children's Home.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd like you to give us a brief description, a brief history of NEEMA Children's Home.
NEEMA Children's Home is a home that an orphanage, a children's home that cares for HIV infected and affected children. It was started 10 years ago with the idea of giving a home, hope to the children who are abandoned and neglected because they are HIV infected. Most of the children I have are orphans, abandoned, and simply because they have the virus. I have 49 at the moment. I have two-thirds boys, a third girls, from the ages of 10 months to 18 years.
All right, it's a big project. Whose idea was it?
Well, it is an idea that I can say God put on our hearts. My wife and I, before we started NEEMA Children's Home, we worked for another children's home in Eldoret for 20 years, and then we retired. And of course, retirement did not mean tiredness. So God called us to care for these children who have nobody and nowhere to call home, or nobody to call dad or mom. So it's a calling that we can say God put on our hearts because of the stigma of HIV.
You said you worked for another children's home. How did you work? I mean, on what capacity?
Well, as my wife and I worked for that children's home as house parents in one of the houses. It's quite a big children's home in Eldoret called Testimony Faith Homes. That's where we worked for nearly 20 years. And so, as we were working there, we were mainly dealing with orphans, abandoned. But as we were working there, God put on our hearts the need and concern to care for HIV infected and affected children specifically.
All right.
So as we prayed through it, we knew that God really wanted us to give a home to abandoned HIV infected and affected children.
Can you tell us the procedure maybe you took before you began NEEMA Children's Home? I know to begin something like that requires a lot of following certain procedures and all.
Yes.
How did you start?
Well, normally, as in this country, you have to write a proposal, and the proposal is to the area advisory committee through the office of the district children's officer. The children's officer in the district receives the proposal. In that proposal, I say, I have a calling to care for HIV infected and affected children. And I propose to be taken in from the ages of birth to 5 years, both boys and girls. So when this committee receives this proposal, they go through it and call whoever, the applicant, for an interview. So I was called for an interview, and at the end of it all, they said, okay, go ahead and take care of Kenyans.
All right. It's not every day actually that we meet someone who, out of is on just feeling like he wants to help people. It's not every day that you come across such people. So how is the setup at NEEMA Children's Home?
Well, since it is me and my wife who started NEEMA Children's Home, it's basically us who are proprietors of the home. But we have a team behind us. On a daily basis, we have at least 6 ladies helping us on a day-to-day basis. We also have about 4 men, groundsman, and also watchman, and other men doing other chores around the compound. But also we have an advisory board, and this is very important because it's a requirement. We have a board, quite a strong board, very supportive. They quite high ranking in this country, and they've been very supportive of us. So on a day-to-day basis, it's me and my wife, and the ladies and the men, but also we have the advisory board who sit quarterly to discuss matters pertaining to the running of the children's home.
So how do you live exactly? I mean, we have people who are supposed to be the parents, the people who are supposed to take care of the children. How do you live?
Well, basically we are the dad and mom. But
you and your wife, yeah.
Me and my wife are the dad and mom. But we have until sometime last year, we had house parents who were Baba and Mama, hands-on. You know, now we are in our house and the home is on the compound, same compound, but a different house. So Baba and Mama are with the children day and night, but we are in our house, but overseeing. Well, but on a day-to-day basis as well.
Yeah. You said there are 49 children. Out of these children, are there older ones whom actually are maybe high school? Yeah.
Yes, our first boy is a boy in the home. He's doing his Form 4 this year.
Oh.
And we have a girl who is doing her 3rd Form 3 this year. And again, we have another girl who is doing Form 2
and these
this year.
Children have been with you since you began the...
Yes.
Yeah.
This boy has been with us since 2005.
When he was just a kid.
Oh, he was a boy, he was a toddler.
Yeah.
But now he's doing his Form 4.
You can say, you might say that as one of your success stories.
Oh yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And now, of the 49 children, you've said not all of them are infected.
Not all of them are infected. Yeah.
And there are some maybe who are not infected. So how do you maybe take care of them? Because when there are others who are infected and others who are not affected, how do you ensure that there's no spread in them?
That's a good question, but also a difficult question.
Yeah.
But, you know, with the help of God, through prayer, counseling, sharing, we involve these children because we know they are teenagers now, some of them. And we know that, of course, their bodies tell them this and the other. So we have sessions of counseling, boys and girls, all of them together, but certain groups, age groups, so that at least we can reach to them. And also in school, we encourage teachers to help us counsel these children.
Okay, and about stigma, how do you deal with them? Because once they come of age, they start now getting aware that they are actually infected or affected in one way or another. So how do you do this?
Well, as I said, prayer is very important here, and we thank God that we have seen the fruit of prayer. We share with these children, but of course we are sure that we assess and see, is it time to share with so-and-so the HIV status because of the age? I mean, we are not going to tell a young child that you are positive and so on and so forth. So we share with them when we feel in our hearts that it is time to share. It's time to tell them this is it. So a lot of counseling, long hours. I remember the first one we disclosed that she was positive. It took at least 3 hours. Sharing, counseling, helping to come to, okay,
Acceptance.
you are positive.
Okay, these children, when you receive them, are there cases where they come in as positive and then at some point they're no longer positive?
Well, at the moment, as I said, we have 49 children. 23 out of the 49 are on antiretroviral treatment. 14 were clients of AMPAT. But they've been declared free of the virus.
How is that possible?
I don't know. Actually, honestly, I don't know. But all I know is that it is possible because before they came to us, they were tested. And yes, they have the virus. Well, we can say that when a child is born, because of the antibodies of the mother, that could be the antibodies of the mother. But again, according to me, there could be the hand of God in it through prayer, you know, good social life, fellowship, a home, love, you know, and so on.
Okay, it's a big task, as I said earlier. It's such a big project, and where do you get funding apart from maybe AMPATH? Where do you get support?
Actually, AMPATH doesn't support us as a home. What AMPATH does mainly is to give us the antiretroviral treatment. So all the AMPATH clients are given free treatment in terms of ARVs. But those who are not AMPATH clients, we have to pay for their medication. Coming back to how we are sponsored and how we run the home finances, when we were praying and thinking about starting this home, God spoke to us specifically about calling unto Him for provisions. So NEEMA Children's Home is a home that depends on God, praying to God and God speaking to somebody in this country, a neighbor, a friend in town, someone in overseas, to send whatever God tells them to send, and at that time. So we live on well wishes.
Well wishes.
Yeah.
Only.
All right.
Okay. When we talk about this, you say NEEMA Children's Home. Where did the name came from?
Well, the name NEEMA is, you know, as I said, I'm a pastor. I'm a Christian. I love Jesus. And personally, if it were not for the grace of God, I wouldn't be where I am. So I thank God for the grace of God that saved me, a sinner. So I'm a saved sinner. And because I accepted Jesus as my personal Savior, God gave me the authority to become a child of God. And then a minister of the gospel. Right. Because of this grace of God, I have my compound where I am.
Yeah.
That is given by the grace of God. I don't have time now to share about my background. It's another story. But because of the grace of God, I am where I am. And it's the same with my wife. She's undergone challenges in life, you know. But because of the grace of God, we are where we are, surrounded by well-to-do people because of the grace of God. So we know that the grace of God is sufficient, not only to us, but to this child who was abandoned, left at the hospital by the wayside, and so on, just because they have the virus. So we know that the grace of God that moved us from where we were to where we are, that grace of God is able also to bring this child from that destitution, desperation, that needy child can be brought. And this is by grace. all those children who come to NEEMA, or our children in NEEMA, we say they are there by the grace of God.
So yeah, this begs the question: how do you receive them? You know,
These
because
children.
sometimes you cannot just go to the town maybe and pick anybody.
No,
How do you receive them?
Earlier on, I talked about the proposal to the Area Advisory Committee and the DCO. In that committee, there is the DCO is a member of that committee. There is the probation department, the education department, social workers, children's magistrate, and so on. So this, as I was being interviewed, these officers are represented, and so they know that there is a home starting to care for a certain number or a certain group of children.
Yeah.
So, in case Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital receives a child or a baby abandoned and HIV positive, they know NEEMA is the place.
So they bring you the children.
So they come to me.
Okay.
But we have to contact the district children's officer. And then, if I say yes, if I have space, the children's officer will liaise. You know, of course, there is a case history. And of course, the OB number. OB number from the police, the case history. Then the DCO in liaison with the children's magistrate. Then they commit the child to NEEMA Children's Home.
Right. Before we go for break, you have a school there also.
Yes, we have a NEEMA school.
So you also have other people who have employed to teach the children.
Yes.
It's such a big task, as I said before. As I said earlier, it's not easy. Whatever Joshua Mbidi is saying, it's not an easy task, and it actually takes the hand of God and a big heart of compassion. So we'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll still talk about NEEMA children, some in regards to the challenges they face and the future. All right, so stay tuned.